Good?
Yeah, good.
All right. Dave, you and I and Jack and Keith were all in the middle of this thing when all of a sudden the building collapsed. What was going through your head?
I mean, first of all, I didn't think we were that close. We were half a block from the scene, but when this thunderous roar happened and the building started to come down, I thought we were far enough away. Next thing you know, a plume of smoke just enveloped us, which is like, I mean, once it turned black, I don't know where to turn. I couldn't see my hand in front of my face.
What were you thinking?
I'm thinking I stayed here too long, way too long, because I thought I was going to be able to run, get away from the smoke, but I mean within seconds it had caught up to me, enveloped me, turned pitch black, couldn't see my hand in front of my face, and at that point I was way worried that like I'd stayed a little too long.
Great footage though.
Great footage, but at what cost?
Yes. Now we're back here. Have you ever seen the city look like this?
No, it's surreal. I mean, it's the only way to describe it. It's surreal. You can't walking through the streets. It's a ghost town now. It's very quiet, contrary to what it was hours ago. But I don't think anyone in this country has seen anything like this.
Behind you, there's no more tower.
There's no tower. It's unfortunately a lot of people dead underneath the rubble.
Good. Good.
Chamber Street and Reed, looking down towards the World Trade Center. The World Trade Center collapsed about 20 minutes ago. There's more collapsing going on, you can hear.
In New York, Alan Dobbs-Frank joins us on the phone in Lower Manhattan. Alan?
Aaron, just 2 or 3 minutes ago, there was yet another collapse or explosion. I'm now out of sight. A Good Samaritan has taken me in on Duane Street. But at 11:15, there was another collapse or explosion following the 10:30 collapse of the second tower. And a firefighter who rushed by us estimated that 50 stories went down. The street filled with smoke was like a forest fire roaring down a canyon. Now, as I think Patty Sabga and others have told you, all of Manhattan is covered, downtown Manhattan is covered with thick white ash and building material.
It's now 11 o'clock.
Division 6, that's Division 1. Have all officers report in when they park on Park Row to Chief Brandy's. You got that, man, Kay?
Rescue the rescue battalion.
Everybody stand by unless urgent.
Urgent.
Go ahead, urgent.
I'm trapped here because from the previous collapse. I need some exit out, okay?
Andre and Mike, I'm here with a familiar face, Mike Walder of USA Today. Mike, you actually saw this happen. Tell us what you saw.
I did indeed, Gordon. You know, like everyone else, I was listening to the radio to the accounts of what was going on in New York. I was listening to President Bush, and we were stuck in traffic. We're coming off the exit here, and I looked up and I saw this American Airlines jet coming in very low, and I watched it, and it clipped. I don't know if you can see it over here. It clipped this pole over here.
The emotion
slammed right into the building. Huge explosion. And then utter pandemonium, as you might imagine. I mean, everybody was screaming, "Oh my God!" People started saying, "We've got to turn around." They hit the Pentagon. A frantic woman turned her car around and started weaving her way out. I got out of my car and went over here, and we could see military personnel bringing tarps out and setting up like a triage unit, a number of stretchers, as they you could hear fire engines, it was the sirens as they arrived. They started to hit the building with the foam, and actually we're doing a pretty good job. And then we saw the triage people with the stretchers sprinting over here, but at that point they moved us back, and of course there was a threat of another plane coming here at that time, and I don't know what's happened with that.
What do you want the table, sir?
Urgent.
Go ahead, Urgent.
I'm trapped here because from the previous collapse. I need some exit out, okay?
Are you at the west side of World Trade Center, building number 1 in the street?
In the rear side of building number 1.
All right, 10-4. Units that are responding in to assist the trap members, they're now reported to be in the rear of tower number 1. Rear of tower number 1. All units responding in to assist members who are trapped, the rear of tower number 1.
Are you sure it was an American Airlines plane?
We were stuck in traffic, could not move. I could see the big AA, the silver jet itself. I thought it was a 737. I may be mistaken there, but there was no doubt about it. It was American Airlines slammed right into the building, and there was no doubt about it. Whoever was piloting that plane was aiming for the Pentagon.
And we do know they hit a taxi cab. The plane hit a taxi cab up here on the bridge, the overpass.
I didn't know that. I did not see. I saw the ball of fire, and I saw it clip these poles, and then the billowing smoke, a gray column of smoke, and then pandemonium.
It's like a fire, maybe a car on fire.
Ashley, tell us what you've seen and heard.
There's just been another explosion, and as happened with the last two, it may be a car bomb. That's what we were hearing from passing police officers. The last two were thought to be car bombs. This third one, I haven't had any confirmation on it yet, but there is. I mean, the plumes of smoke have been so thick anyway.
What'd you get out of it?
Oh, it's still burning.
Better see you guys. How are you? Oh, let's see. All events in the FD Command Center.
Fighting the fire and dealing with the injured. Gordon, I talked to a staff sergeant who was in the building on the third floor. He arrived for work probably around 7:45, and he said when it hit, the doors to the offices flew open. But he did say it was an orderly, it wasn't chaotic, it was an orderly transition out of the building and everyone got out.
All right, this is...
A new type of war. That's what it is.
Today, like the National Terrorist Day or something that we missed out on?
Obviously, this is a day we won't forget for a long time.
September 11th, 2001.
Another explosion.
The monument and the monument.
Let's join MSNBC, of course, our sister network. They have been following this all morning with us as well. Let's listen in at the Pentagon.
10,000 people in each tower. 10,000 people in each tower would typically be in there on a normal business day. And we get about another 5,000 visitors during the course of the entire day. So by 8:30, 9 o'clock, the building should have been full.
Okay, so in other words, by 8:30 to 9, you figure the building would have been approaching full capacity with the workers. So we are talking about roughly 10,000 people
per tower.
Per tower.
Was that the plane that is flying over Dulles Airport is a hijacked plane, they believe, and it's surrounded by Air Force F-16s. And today is the anniversary of the Camp David Accords, where the United States and Israel really became tight.
Oh, is that right?
So this is why today was chosen.
Yeah, I knew there was some significance to today. I have no idea what it was.
It was a big deal to them. The religion that's causing this. Is that what it is?
Yeah, they're doing this in the name of Allah.
Yeah, I got something for Allah.
Now Bin Laden has denied any involvement.
Yeah, okay.
Right, now nobody's
Who cares?
taking responsibility for
Yeah, but you know what? Who cares? Let's go get him anyway.
You
didn't do this one, you did others.
Yeah, you did others.
Let's get him on the way to
So you didn't do this
to get
one.
the real people.
Right.
Even he's afraid to take responsibility for this.
Well, I think he's beginning to realize they missed their target, and there's going to be retribution.
Yep.
I guess the next step is between the chief and myself and my staff. We're going to go assess the condition and determine whether it's safe or not to send personnel into the building to continue looking and evacuating people.
Are there any emergency workers in there now?
We don't know that. We don't know.
If they were in there now, presumably they would have been trapped in there from the earlier.
It's possible. It's possible from what we saw happen here. Yeah, very much so. We were trapped ourselves in the building, in the basement. We were the building collapsed when we came out of that. But yes,
you were in the basement of the South Tower.
No, we were in the basement of Building 5, 6.
Okay.
Right, and I was in Building 5. We had to dig our way out to get out.
You dug your way out. What was that like?
Scary,
but I was a volunteer fireman for years, so you learn not to panic.
We're going to move
What
from
was
Pat
the one
Henry
last
to
thing?
Pat
What was
Johnson.
the?
We've just been able to get a
reporters and photographers and people who work at the White House, many of them running from the scene, concerned about this report of a plane. And again, I think that threat has passed, but the perimeter is now probably 4 blocks away from the White House in any given direction.
camera hooked up to Ashley Banfield. And Ashley, tell us where you are and what's happening.
I'm on West Broadway.
I'm on West Broadway right now. It's kind of hard to say, West Broadway, Reed Street. But if you look down here, follow me down, you can see what it looks like finally, Chris. Down West Broadway, into that plume of smoke. That was where those World Trade Centers once stood. And you can see people milling all about. Emergency vehicles are trying to get through this area. Police are trying to wrangle people to clear the way so that they can get through. Just look at the ground. Look at all the debris everywhere. The dust, the mess.
I just saw a shot from downtown right by the zone. It looks like it snowed. There's so much soot. It's thick. It's inches thick on the ground. They're all wearing gas masks.
Yeah,
and my wife just got home, thank God.
Yeah, that soot is traveling through the sky. I mean, I don't know.
It's like the ash from a volcano. You don't want to breathe it.
Yeah, they're saying it's toxic if you breathe it in.
Kennedy Airport's completely shut down, and they're searching cars, and the soot appears to be heading that way.
Is it Mr. Borden? You were in the area when this happened. Tell me what happened.
I was walking by the building and early in the morning, and there was a loud cracking noise. And all of a sudden, this guy looked up and screamed, and I thought he was joking. And I looked up, and all sorts of pieces of the building were coming off the building. And so we started running, and pieces of the building started falling like in 20 foot in front of us, and there was nowhere to go. And
Did you get hit with anything?
No,
Did you run?
Yeah, we ran and it fell under thing, and then we came back and we were walking around the other side, and the other building blew, and I pulled a woman underneath a truck because all the debris was falling down then, and now they both collapsed. There's no more World Trade Centers.
Marlo, pick up the phone. Hey, Howard.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have Marlo pick up. She just ran home from downtown. She said it's
Where was she?
Chaos. She was down in the 20s. Howard, Marlo, you're on the air with Howard.
Hey, Marlo.
Hello, hi.
Where were you?
I was just walking back from the office, and I didn't even want to get into a cab. Actually, there was, I don't know, I think it was like, I don't know if the driver of the cab was Arab or whatever, but some guy was punching the windshield of the front of the, I'm sorry, I can't even breathe, I just walked in the door.
Right.
It's mayhem outside.
People were punching the cab driver?
No, not the cab driver, but the windshield.
Oh, they were attacking the
trying to attack
cab.
the cab driver, or
What?
the cab itself.
Because he was an Arab?
I think that people probably thought it's a taxi. It must be an Arab driving the taxi, and let's attack the taxi. I mean, I would think.
Yeah, that ain't the right way to go.
That's the kind of hysteria.
No, that ain't the right way to go.
That's what they would love. They would love for this country to collapse in chaos.
Yeah, we have to unite. We get united behind the president, no matter what you think of him, and he's got to come up with the plan. And then let's hope that this dude comes up with the right plan. And you all know what the plan is.
And what happened to you? Was there emergency personnel who looked you over to help you out? Did you just escape the area as fast
No, I
as
just
possible?
walked around and see if anybody else was okay, because I was okay.
And this is where you work every day?
Yeah. Down on Wall Street. Yeah, I'm in shock.
All right, thank you. Just want to clear this area, please. They were heading into that area. What's so frightening at this time is that we've heard 3 explosions since both towers collapsed. I stopped another police officer. He was a New York City police officer who was working traffic in this area to ask him if he'd heard over his radio transmissions whether in fact those were car bombs, as one officer had told me, or whether he'd heard anything else. He said he thought they were just residual collapse sounds and explosions that were just from the original collapse, but we haven't had confirmation on that. The first officer that I did get the information from that was a car bomb looked as though he was an inspector, plain clothes of some sort. He had a radio as well and a cell phone. It was walking right past me down this area, and I walked with him as he was talking on the cell phone. I said, "What was it?" And he said, "Car bomb." And when I asked him to elaborate, he said, no time, and he continued to walk forward. The concern is that there are so many emergency
Is that the Marine Battalion?
Alright, urgent, I got a trapped firefighter.
What's your urgent?
Anybody operating on the west side highway here, I got a member down, some rubble alive. I need some help. Anybody that's over here searching with me.
Alright, unit calling, person calling for help. What's ID tag? Identified.
Green Battalion Chief Fuentes is trapped. I have him. It's Flatley from Rescue. West Side Highway. I need some help getting him out. There's members over here. I have no radio.
Alright, 10-4. We do have some units on the way over there to try to assist you. Marine 9 should be docking momentarily. He has rescue personnel also on board.
We also were able to interview a security guard who was working on the Concord and the plaza between the two World Trade Centers when the first explosion happened, when the first plane hit the first tower. He said he was dispatched down to the concourse to clear people away and to try to move people out of the World Trade Center. And then he said that's when the second explosion happened, which of course was the second tower. He said everything went pitch black. There was a cloud of smoke and a cloud of debris. When we happened upon him, it was extremely strange. He was all dressed in his black security uniform, but he was fully covered from head to toe in gray and wandering aimlessly. He said he was okay.
Hold on
we asked him
one
if he'd been
second,
attended
if you
to.
can, because Pat Dawson. far from you is being asked to move.
All right, Tom, we've just been told we're being evacuated. You can see all the emergency workers walking north on the West Side Highway in New York. We've been told by firefighters here that there is a report of a bomb in this building. This is a school, a high school right here. And as you can see, they're moving everybody away from this building. They've said that there's a bomb in the building. They are evacuating us north now. That is according to firefighters on the scene. And we're going to move out of here right now just to keep ourselves safe.
An FBI spokesman says the planes involved 2 American flights. American Flight 11, Boston to Los Angeles, involved in hitting one of the trade towers. Also, American 77 was involved apparently in one of the attacks, at least was hijacked. We don't know where that plane ended up. 2 United airplanes, United 175, that was scheduled Boston to Los Angeles. I just checked United's website. That plane supposedly left Boston at 8:14 this morning Eastern Time. Also, United 93 from Newark to San Francisco. According to the United website, that plane left at 8:42. We do not know, except with American 11, exactly which plane ended up where. But according to this source from the FBI, those are the 4 commercial planes that have been involved in what is going on today.
The fact of the matter is that there's so much information and there's so much chaos that we literally can't confirm anything. We don't know what's going on.
It is so eerie looking outside. I mean, it is just dead. The FDR Drive is just, there's not a car on it. The bridges are all completely, there's nothing.
We're under attack.
Eerie. Yeah.
It's so unbelievable that more things you keep hearing.
They're insane, and we're fighting insane people. And you ever fight anyone who's insane, you know it's almost impossible.
There's
Chuck,
nothing to do but shoot them.
Chuck, go ahead and say something.
RAC 2, acting as Rescue 2 Second Support Unit to Manhattan Urgent.
Rescue 2 Support Unit.
I am acting as here, so the captain of Rescue 2. We have commandeered a city bus. We have tools, equipment, 18 men, 3 officers. I'm currently at Vesey and at Park Row and in front of City Hall, moving into the scene with members. I have advised the captain that other trap members on the west side of the World Trade Center.
10-4, you're responding over there, 10-4?
Affirmative, I'm having a member direct me of Rescue right now.
10-4.
So we're going to start walking north ourselves, but that's what we're being told by New York City firefighters here, that there were reports of a bomb in that high school right there. It's called Stuyvesant High School. And so we are walking north to get out of the way. You can see just to my left here, these are even the ambulances which were down there are being moved north. The firefighters are being moved north. Everybody is being moved north. We're being asked by the police now to go north and get out of the way. Officer, do you have any idea of what the problem is?
There's a report of a secondary device possibly in the area of this school, so they're going to move everybody back as a precaution.
Secondary device meaning a bomb?
Possibly.
Okay, and where did that report come from? Was it called in?
It came in over our radios, and it's reported through our supervisors on down, so we're pulling everybody back.
And that's in the Stuyvesant High School right there?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Officer McQuaid. That's Officer McQuaid of New York City Emergency Service.
Howard, stay on the air, bud. You're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
So far, L.A. standing tall. We're all deployed, obviously, watching you guys.
A Taliban news conference soon. What is that?
What is a Taliban news conference, Robin?
I have no idea.
That's what's that guy's Bin Laden. I think that's Taliban.
That's a terrorist organization.
I think they're going to call a press conference to deny any involvement.
Oh, they're involved.
Yeah,
don't buy it.
When you get your cameras in there, shoot them.
Exactly.
Now, we have been reporting another plane down some distance from Pittsburgh today. According to reports, and I want to stress this is coming from the affiliate there who got this in the scanner, so let's put this in perspective. But that plane believed to have originated in Chicago and was headed to Cleveland with 90 people on board. No word on the airline. And I'm just seeing, crossing the Associated Press wires now, American Airlines says it has lost 2 aircraft carrying a total of 156 people.
Planes were American Airlines flight number 11 and 77 and United Airlines flight number 175 and 93. And Scott...
Just lost it, 8200 Lynn. Yeah. Another explosion.
I don't know, EMS staging is at
11:25 and it's black as night.
Well, let's also look at some passenger counts from those planes. American Airlines Flight 11 was one of the ones believed to have crashed into the World Trade Center. We believe that was a Boeing 767 with 81 passengers, 9 flight attendants, and 2 pilots. American Airlines Flight 77 was believed to be en route from Washington Dulles to Los Angeles, a Boeing 757 with 58 passengers, 4 flight attendants, and 2 pilots. United Flight 175, there is no information at this time as to how many passengers were on board. The other United plane involved, number 93, was believed to be en route from Newark to San Francisco. And this could be the plane. This is believed to be the plane that crashed outside of Pittsburgh. And we understand that about 9:58 Eastern Time, this is being reported by WPXI television in Pittsburgh, that a 911 center got a phone call from a cell phone from the plane saying, in fact, that the plane was hijacked. There was an explosion, a cloud of white smoke, and of course, the phone then went dead.
And Scott, before we go to...
Rick Sanchez is in Lower Manhattan. Rick?
Yeah, there have been, Lester, am I on? Is that you?
Yeah, Rick, go ahead. Lester.
Yeah, Lester, there have been about four explosions here since about 11 o'clock. The most recent about 2 minutes ago that seemed to shake the ground that we're on. We're about a block and a half away from what used to be the World Trade Center. The area is completely surrounded in soot and ash. Firefighters and rescue officials are still really trying to get their act together. They're not quite sure how to approach this situation. They just did finally set up a command center. It's going to be set up at Chambers and West.
Sue, let me mention that in about 5 minutes, the Afghani ambassador representing the Taliban government is going to hold a news conference. Sources in Afghanistan say that they will deny any link or knowledge that known terrorist Osama bin Laden would be involved. And as far as they are concerned, he is banned from carrying out activities against anyone. Now, we should take this with a huge grain of salt because there are administration officials who are saying that if we are to believe that this is a coordinated attack, and there really is no reason to believe it isn't, given the timing of all of this today, that administration officials are saying that it should be considered a coordinated attack on the scale that an organization put together by Osama bin Laden would be capable of carrying out if, in fact, that's what this is.
American Airlines is now...
I think they're down.
As they try and work into the area. What they're doing now, Lester, is lining up on some of the adjacent streets and setting up, as what you know from covering stories like this, field forces, where they tell them, don't go out and freelance, don't go out on your own, stay in a group, we'll move into an area, and we'll somehow move in little by little.
You're late. Everybody dirty. You're late.
flights and diverted all international flights to Canada. We've never had to take that kind of action before.
This is you know what? It hasn't even sunk in with me yet.
Yeah,
No, it seems like you're watching a movie or something.
Yeah, it hasn't even sunk in that the World Trade Center is gone.
It's Pearl Harbor. I mean,
that thousands of people are probably dead.
Tens of thousands, Howard.
Tens and tens, probably 50 plus, I would say.
I would say at least.
Yes, and that the Pentagon, God only knows what was going on there, and who knows what else is going to happen next.
Well, our government was attacked.
And there are
probably not one of us in this New York area or in this country who's not going to know someone who was killed in this.
Right. I can start by telling you one of our, nothing's wrong with her, but one of our interns, one of our brand new interns was supposed to start today. Her mom called to tell us she's being held in a garage in New York City because her building's gone.
Wow.
Ambulance for command post, Manhattan. Brooklyn to Manhattan, urgent. I just had a report from PD that they have a report of a bomb or a suspicious package that is in the Battery Tunnel at the present time. Would you advise all companies to stay out of the tunnel until we get this cleared up from PD?
All right, attention all units. We would avoid the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel report of a bomb in the tunnel.
Smoke I got when it collapsed. Tell me about what you saw.
It just went from night to day instantaneously. The whole sky turned black. From day to night.
Tell me again what you saw.
It went from day to night instantly, and the whole sky just turned black, and a thick smoke that you couldn't breathe. You had to go inside, or you'd be choking. And there were many people getting sick from the smoke.
You lucky to be alive, Iron?
Yes, I am very lucky to be alive. I actually was work late today. If I had come in 15 minutes earlier, I might have been in a lot worse shape.
Larry, that's great. Thank you.
Meanwhile, firefighters and rescue officials, I just saw them come in as well.
Room 55,
they
please.
had what appeared to be picks, axes, and other devices that they're going to be using, perhaps to try and extricate people that might still be in there. The items that they had were handheld items that they were probably going to be using, we would assume, in some form to get into the area. However, at this point, we're only about a block away, and it does not appear that they're moving into the area.
Rick, I'm going to interrupt you here.
You know, I don't mean to blame anybody, but, you know, it's funny because, you know, you think you're so safe in this country, and we were taught when I was in the military that, you know, that the Air Force is always up in the air and there's always someone watching. And for airplanes to just be hijacked in numbers like this and crash into our own populated areas.
All right, thank you very much. Let me read from our hot file some new information coming in from two senior counterterrorism officials in the Clinton administration. They tell NBC News that the only organization with motivation and capability to execute a terrorist mission like this is Osama bin Laden. One official described this as the worst intelligence failure since Pearl Harbor, noting these attacks take months, if not years.
In the subway, when the first one hit, you heard the noise, the subway train went dead. I came up the door and saw the plane.
Well, let me tell you something.
Well, what we learned in Vietnam is when you're using guerrilla tactics, it's impossible for the military to stop.
And remember the mistake in Vietnam. We should have nuked those dudes, and we never did. And if we don't nuke some of these countries over there, I mean literally nuke them, fry them, fry their children, fry everything, they will never stop.
You know
they
what
will
I feel
never stop. And I know it's an unpopular thing to do, but you got to be the strong one, and Bush is going to have to make that decision. Target 3 countries over there and level them.
Yemen is one of them.
Howard, you know
Disintegrated.
You know what it feels like now? It feels like almost like, remember when we fought the British? It's like we're the redcoats. Like we're standing.
We're playing like idiots.
Yeah, we're playing fair while guerrillas
we're standing in line waiting for people to shoot us.
Yeah, military action has changed.
To plan and a large number of people. Joining us now on the telephone to talk about this, Lawrence Eagleburger, is former Secretary of State under the Reagan administration. Mr. Secretary, thank you. What is your reaction?
Well, you've said part of it already, which is that it clearly is an intelligence failure of some magnitude. Although, you know, the thing that I'm particularly surprised at is I thought the one thing we had under control was that people couldn't hijack aircraft in the U.S. anymore, but it's fairly clear now that that's also failed. I thought we had that one pretty well licked, but apparently we don't.
Osama bin Laden, how hard is he to find, to capture? How elusive is he?
He's very elusive. We've had a hard time tracking him. Having said that, since I happen to believe that this now is as much an act of war as anything, I think it now becomes much more incumbent upon us to go massively against him, not just try to find him, but any place where he may have been, and any government which may have housed him, as far as I'm concerned, now ought to be declared an enemy, and we ought to declare ourselves at war with all of them, and we ought to get massively engaged in cleaning it out, even if we are not necessarily hitting precisely the people that did this.
Madison, Wisconsin. I'm just here to help.
Want to help? Put down the camera. That's help.
We're just sitting here in,
you know how you see the pictures
shock.
from like the Gaza Strip when there's a car bomb? You see like.
But it never feels real enough.
It's us.
Yeah, now it feels real,
it's the
right?
exact pictures you see from overseas that you just say, "Oh my God, you can't even imagine it." This is us in New York City.
As someone said earlier today, this is Israel every day.
That's right.
Burn out of control, and I have to tell you, there are fires that have happened in the Pentagon before, certainly not from terrorist attacks, and it's a very difficult situation to fight a fire in the Pentagon. Again, the world's largest office building, I think it's been called in the past, and there's so many nooks and crannies that fire can get into, and I'm sure that's a big problem here. And as you saw earlier and can see now, there's a gaping hole in the west side of the Pentagon where a great deal of fire continues to burn here at the E-ring, the west side, near the heliport of the Pentagon. But the biggest problem here is solid information. And as you can imagine, the line of communications are down. You talked about cell phones, almost impossible to use. Anybody out there is waiting for a call from a loved one, and you know they have a cell phone.
Be advised, we have set up a Liberty Street command, commanded by Chief Mosier, and a Church Street command, commanded by the 4-2 Battalion. We have 7 teams at the Liberty Street command. We have a second alarm assignment that's going to report to the 4-2 Battalion. Have all other incoming units report to the staging area. Also, please contact the other command post on West Street. Advise them of our side. I cannot contact them via handy-talkie. 208 to Manhattan case. Doc, Charlie, to Manhattan case. 208 is 10 response in Manhattan response area case.
All units stand by. Manhattan is Division 6 acting case.
Division 6 acting, did you copy?
Division 6 acting, we have a Liberty command post, we have a Church Street command post, the other staging areas, we're going to use Park Row and Vesey case.
NBC's Andrea Mitchell for more from your vantage point. Andrea, where are you and what can you contribute?
The State Department has been evacuated, so I am here in the Washington Bureau, and Secretary Eagleberger is exactly right. The view within this administration, as within prior administrations, is that this is an act of war and that they do have plans. They have already, within the last 3 weeks, warned the Taliban government in Afghanistan that any act against the United States would be considered an act of war against the Taliban, against Afghanistan, or by the Taliban, I should say, and that retaliation would be done against Afghanistan. You will recall that after the embassy bombings in Tanzania and in Kenya, the U.S. did retaliate against Afghanistan and did retaliate against Sudan. That one, the latter, against Sudan, highly controversial because there were suggestions that they didn't have adequate evidence that Sudan was really implicated.
Well, here's Gary with something. Go ahead.
On line 2, and I checked this out, so it's for real, is Congressman Gary Ackerman. He's from the 5th District of New York.
Yeah, we know Gary Ackerman.
He got a briefing from somebody, and he wanted to come on the air and talk.
Hi, Congressman. Congressman? I don't think I have him. Congressman? Congressman?
Yes.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
What'd you hear?
It's an absolute nightmare.
It's an absolute nightmare. This is going to go down as Black Tuesday, and it's going to change each of our personal lives as well as our civilization forever.
You're not kidding.
The way we do business, who we do business with, our security precautions that we're going to have to take. I think this is driven home in the most dramatic way that anybody with a suit and a blue tie can get on a plane and do all kinds of damage almost at will.
Congressman, were you briefed in any way on this?
No, everybody who's supposed to be in secure places right now is there. We've closed down the whole Capitol. I'm in New York. I stayed here for the primary, and I was going to go down a little later.
Right.
And I just voted. Of course, the election's now been called off.
The Director of Central Intelligence is in meetings with his top officials, not in his normal operations center, not in his office, but in a special secure location. The State Department Operations Center has been moved out of its location to another location in Virginia.
Mr. Secretary Lawrence Eagleburger, are you still with us? If you are, what happens? You've worked for a great many years in government. What happens in the Situation Room? What does the president do with his advisors?
Well, assuming that this president acts like most presidents, he will gather them together and he'll ask for advice, and in the last analysis, he will make up his mind on what ought to be done. He'll have to hear from particularly his military advisors on what is available to react. You'll have to hear from Secretary Powell on how you deal with the other governments around the world to explain what it is we're doing, assuming we decide to do something. And by the way, I hope it is more than what we did when we responded to some of the last time. We need to. This is massive. The retaliation has to be massive, and I might say, I don't care very much about which terrorists they're going after. If they are clearly terrorists and they are antagonistic to the U.S., they ought to be considered, although it is also true that Osama bin Laden ought to be target number one. But
nobody knows ahead of time which one he's going to be at.
Brian, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, they just reported that there was 164 people killed on the plane crashes into the World Trade Center.
Right.
That's on one of the planes.
That's on the plane.
Yeah, one plane.
On one plane. Yeah. On one plane, there were 164 people.
Well, we're going to be talking in terms of thousands of people.
Tens of thousands.
Anybody within the sound of your voice, and that's millions of people.
Stay keyed up on the next hub as I keep losing you. 3, 2, 1. You're on. We apologize, having some technical difficulties getting cells down here because a good deal of our cell transmission come from the top of the World Trade Center. And you can see the black smoke continues. And to give you a live picture down Church Street, fire crews now walking back toward the scene. We have seen them all morning trying to walk away because what happens is every time a little piece of the building comes down, a huge black cloud comes at us, making it almost impossible to breathe or see anything in front of them. But now, at least for the past couple of minutes, it has been clear from this space back on Chambers in that area. So now they're walking back toward the World Trade Center. And as we keep letting you hear the personal stories, the survivor stories of exactly what happened inside the World Trade Center when that first plane went in, and of course the collapses since then, we're going to bring more of those to you now. Barry Jennings, you were on the 8th floor. You work for the City Housing Department. Explain to me the moment of impact.
Well, me and Mr. Hesh, the Corporation Counsel, were on the 23rd floor. I told him we got to get out of here. We started walking down the stairs. We made it to the 8th floor. Big explosion. Blew us back into the 8th floor. And I turned to Hesh, I said, this is it, we're dead. We're not gonna make it out of here. I took a fire extinguisher and I bust the window out. That's when this gentleman here heard my cries for help. This gentleman right here, and he kept saying, stand by, somebody's coming to get you. They couldn't get to us for an hour because they couldn't find us.
You thought that was it?
I thought we're dead. I thought that was it. I started praying to Allah. I said, that's it, we're gone. It's over.
What was it like for you? You were inside there as well.
It was pandemonium. I mean, it was something like out of Bruce Willis' Die Hard movie. He was there and he was crying, and there was another gentleman crying and for help. We couldn't get to him. We tried to get through we went through the buildings. We were lost. Both staircases, the backside was completely blown away. There was no way to access us. We couldn't get to him. And finally, one of the fire department teams found him. But we didn't think they were going to make it.
Well, certainly you got out. Many others didn't. Of course, we'd have
Eagleberger, and let me read from Reuters, Mr. Secretary. Quote, it is most likely the work of Islamic fundamentalists. Osama bin Laden warned 3 weeks ago that he would attack American interests in an unprecedented attack, a very big one. This, according to the editor of the London-based Arab newspaper. Mr. Secretary, given that the warning was well known, and certainly American intelligence must have known about it, and given the fact that we knew that Osama bin Laden favors the use of aircraft and has launched a couple of attacks, one of which was actually defeated before it took place through intelligence, how is it we could not have known about this?
Is no longer, at least not like we knew it. These men just embraced. This man is crying. It has been that traumatic.
I don't want to cry in the air, man, but I thought that was it. I thought I was dead. I'm thinking about my sons, my wife. It's too much.
And certainly, he echoes the statements of many others. We were speaking with a couple of officials earlier trying to get information. They said, stand back, we lost a bunch of guys today. It has certainly been a horrible... In fact, let me come around right here as this happens. They're now clearing the area.
Let me go to the corner and take anybody up to Lincoln Center. You have to board the bus.
They're trying to evacuate the area because certainly they don't know what's going to happen next.
Well, I think that's fairly understandable. You said, or somebody said, that this was highly sophisticated and very well planned, and I think that's true, including obviously the ability to keep the thing quiet, and obviously also it required a great deal of money, which leads you again back to Osama bin Laden. The one thing I don't understand, and it's critical to the rest of this, I guess, is, as I said, I thought we had licked the problem of hijacked aircraft in this country. It can only tell me that there was really sloppy procedures.
Felipe Ayola was on the 81st floor when a plane struck the tower. He is on the phone with us now. Were you in the first or the second tower, sir?
I was in the second.
Tell us what you saw and heard and what happened.
I was actually on 81 and on 2 World Trade and then an explosion, and it was in 1 World Trade, and I saw the flames. I ran down to 78, which is the main concourse, where I met up with my wife and co-workers, and then I was asked to go back upstairs because it was safe and the problem was only in 1 World Trade. And then when I went upstairs, I left my wife there, told her it was okay. I went up to 81. I was looking out the window with a co-worker of mine as another explosion happened and the entire room just collapsed on me. And I was able to find stairs, and I can't find my wife, and I'm looking around now for her. So if she's listening, I just want to let her know that I'm okay and I'm trying to find her.
Well, this is the worst I've ever seen.
That's what's left of it?
Yep.
One tower?
Chris, I'm looking at the airplanes involved here and have concluded, just based on the information, that in air traffic control centers, they must have known something was up. Let's take, for example, the American Flight 11. It's a 767 going from Boston to L.A. New York City is not one of the places it will cross over on that flight. That plane at some point left its flight path. The other American flight, American 77, that was going from Washington Dulles to L.A. American says it was involved in the World Trade Center attack. Again, New York is not between Dulles and Los Angeles, so once again, this is a plane that controllers would have seen veer from its flight path. The United flight, the one we believe down in western Pennsylvania, that one that would have been on its flight path. But those two that involved the New York attack would suggest that warning bells were going off somewhere. They may not have known the intentions, but they knew something was going wrong with those airplanes with some lead time.
Can you hear us, Teresa Ward? We seem to.
Peter has me on hold for CNBC.
Hi, Teresa?
Yes, hi.
Hi, this is Chris Jansing at MSNBC. I understand that you were in the second building when the first one collapsed, is that right?
I was in the second building when the plane hit One World Trade.
What can you tell us about what you saw and heard?
Well, I was at my desk, just, starting my day, and we felt a shudder. The entire building sort of shuddered. And at first we didn't really think, we sort of didn't know what happened, and we looked out the window and there was just debris and papers like a ticker tape parade falling from the sky. And immediately we just everybody calmly walked down the stairs, and a lot of people who had already been part of the original bombing were there with us, and we all calmly started exiting the building. And then we heard an announcement that there was an incident in one World Trade Center, but 2 World Trade Center were just fine, so we could return to our offices. So we then took the elevator down, and clearly that was not correct. And as soon as I got out of the building, I could see that there was a second explosion because there was just burning debris coming down, showering on us, and we had to run for cover. And then they rushed us back into the concourse, and we were able to exit the other way. And by the time I got up to Houston Street, I turned around and you could see that 2 World Trade Center was just a cloud of smoke.
So you had been told to go back to your offices, but you made the decision to leave the building?
Yeah.
Obviously,
at that point, though, there was only an incident in one World Trade Center, and no one really knew what the incident was.
And you mentioned that you were with people who were there during the other attack, which you're talking about the 1993 bombing. Right. What was the conversation? What were people saying? What were they doing as you were getting out of the building?
We were just calmly walking down the stairs, thinking, what the heck happened? Somebody said a plane hit the building. Another person said a bomb. we really had no clue what was happening. So everybody was relatively calm, having been through the experience of the first one, and there wasn't any smoke in the stairwells this time or anything like that. So the mood was very calm, and we were able to get out. But we got out right away as soon as we felt the shudder of the first explosion. So we were very, very fortunate.
Listen, everyone go north.
What happened?
Go
Man?
north.
What happened here?
Dude, man, it got things gone. It blew up. I don't know. I came down. I'm alive. I just want to know if my wife is alive. I was on 82.
82?
Yeah.
How'd you come down the stairs?
Stairs.
What was that like? Panic?
No, it was calm until I got down. Then the top came down.
What was that like when the top came down?
All right, look at me, man. It was fucking frightening. It was frightening as all hell. Come on.
The loud rumble? Tell me about that.
I don't know. I don't remember anything after that. I just crawled out. But I lost my people. I don't know where they are.
All right, so hang in there, man. All right. We'll let them know you're all right. All right, thank you so much. We're going worldwide. We're Reuters television.
Yeah, I was here when they blew up the parking garage. Just
This is the other one. No, the other one.
no, back there. Yeah.
Chief Albert Turry told me that he was here just literally 10 or 15 minutes after the events that took place this morning. That is the first crash. He said that at one point he had roughly 10 alarms. That would equate to roughly 200 to 225 New York City firefighters who were in the building. This was after the crash, trying to rescue civilians who were in there. Now, earlier this morning on the Today Show, we spoke to the director of the World Trade Center. He said that at that hour of the morning, you could have upwards of 10,000 people in each of those towers. That would be 20,000 people total in each tower.
So tell me, where does TV? Tell me what happened? What did you see?
Up near the top of the building, there was off to the, as I was facing the building this way, to the left-hand corner, there was like flames coming out of the side of the building, and then it started to spark, and then there was an explosion, and then it all became smoke.
And it was just dust and clouds everywhere?
Dust and clouds everywhere after. I mean, look around the street. This is what's left of the building, I guess.
We were talking about, you think there's a chance for people on the street?
I'm sure. The rescue workers, people that might have still been in the building, because it looked like the whole top of the building came down.
How many floors can you tell?
Probably the top 40 floors. Yeah. Because it was up that high.
What's your name?
Don Halasy.
How do you spell that?
Halasy. Right. Photographer with the Post.
Yeah, New York Post, man.
The chief of safety, as I said, chief safety of the fire department of New York City, told me that shortly after 9 o'clock, he had roughly 10 alarms, roughly 200 men in the building trying to effect rescues of some of those civilians who were in there, and that basically he received word of the possibility of a secondary device, that is another bomb going off. He tried to get his men out as quickly as he could, but he said that there was another explosion which took place, and then an hour after the first hit here, with the first crash that took place, he said, there was another explosion that took place in one of the towers here. So obviously, according to his theory, he thinks that there were actually devices that were planted in the building. One of the secondary devices he thinks that took place after the initial impact was, he thinks, may have been on the plane that crashed into one of the towers. The second device he thinks, he speculates, was probably planted in the building. So that's what we have been told by Albert Turry, who is the chief of safety for the New York City Fire Department. He told me that just moments ago. Now, we are continuing to hear explosions. Here downtown.
That's right. I'm standing here right now just off Broadway by City Hall with Michael Hess, who is the city's corporation counsel. Mr. Hess, you were trapped in, I believe, 7 World Trade Center. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I was. I was up in the emergency management center on the 23rd floor, and when all the power went out in the building, another gentleman and I walked down to the 8th floor where there was an explosion, and we've been trapped on the 8th floor with smoke, thick smoke all around us for about an hour and a half. But the New York Fire Department, as terrific as they are, just came and got us out.
Why did you happen to be at that particular place when the explosions took place?
Well, the Emergency Management Center is where city officials go when there is any emergency such as this one.
How do you feel that the OME, the Emergency Management, is going to be handling the situation? It seems like they're still trying to arrange triage areas and areas of command and setup. Where will they be now?
I don't know where the centers will be, but obviously the mayor and Commissioner Shira of OEM are watching the situation carefully, taking all the right moves, and everything's under control.
Where is the mayor located now?
I don't know myself. As I say, I was trapped in 7 World Trade Center for the last hour and a half.
Thank you very much. That's Michael Hess. He is the City Corporation Counsel who was trapped over by 7 World Trade Center. This is Frank Uciardo reporting live from Lower Broadway, right down the block from City Hall.
All right, Frank, stay with us on the phone here for
their lives, wreck their lives. For once, allow us, whether you need Israel to do it or the United States to do it, I don't care which.
You know, to me, that alone is a reason to bomb them.
Allow us to bomb them.
While they're out in the streets, throw a bomb on them right now.
Bomb them now in the street.
Howard, they have kids in the street, 5 years old, jumping up and down, celebrating.
5-year-olds. Those 5-year-olds will grow up to attack our children.
They're showing it right now.
Kill them.
If you look at NBC,
kill them
Channel
for
4.
celebrating. Kill them.
In their schools, at 5 years old, they're being indoctrinated.
Here they are. They're all celebrating in the streets. The Palestinians are celebrating in the streets, ladies and gentlemen. They're putting up the victory sign. Children are cheering.
The Port Authority police chief told us that they were at that point about, I'd say 40 minutes ago, about to make a decision on whether or not it was safe to send emergency workers back in there. But the bottom line is that according to the chief of safety of the New York City Fire Department, he says that he probably lost a great many men in those secondary explosions, and he said that there were literally hundreds, if not thousands of people in those 2 towers when the explosions took place. He said everything above the 60th floor was extremely difficult to get to, as you can imagine.
Pat Dawson.
Back to you.
Pat Dawson, thanks very much.
Close to the blast, broke the glass, go around here, and right there, landed one of the towers, as you can see.
The parents have taught them well. Let them all live. Go ahead. Go ahead, and more of us will die.
I think you know what Bush needs to do. I mean, he needs to grow a set of you-know-what.
We all know what needs to be done.
If Bush doesn't do it, he's gone. We have to get a new president. You got to get a new president.
He hasn't said much, really, Bush, but wait for him to come on and say, I mean,
look at them celebrating in the street.
This is why I say you cannot negotiate with these people.
They are so happy. They're so insane.
Unbelievable.
Today, drop the nuclear bomb on them.
There's no reason for those people.
Give them nuclear warfare. It's the only thing they understand. Like the bastard children they are.
This is terrible.
I can't even believe
my
that.
name, but on behalf
I think it's great you guys are still on the air, though, you know.
I'm getting too worked up and I'm starting to say stuff. I
really want to say nasty, awful
things.
I do
too.
I know, Howard, this is getting me worked up. My blood is pumping right now.
I'm so
Somebody said to me earlier, where do you think it's safer? I said, I don't care about safety at this point. They're bombing my country.
Revenge.
That's it.
Revenge is going to be sweet. The thought that these people are celebrating the death of others, please do something.
This is horrible.
I'm sick of seeing it.
It's one thing to strike military targets, but when you strike the heart of a city like New York,
I'm sick of looking at them. I'm sick of looking at them celebrate.
I can't imagine these little school kids. They probably don't even know what's happening.
They're all celebrating.
They are taught to hate America at the youngest age.
And they're going to grow up and kill our children.
Yep.
They're going to be worse than the parents. It's time to stop the madness now.
They don't even have to. They do it in schools. It's organized. The teacher stands at the front of the classroom and says, "This is a country and a people you should hate."